What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we are looking at our favourites once again. October's been a pretty full-on month. If there wasn't something happening in one space, there was a lot going on in another. So let's have a look. So starting with music, as always, the start of the month and the end of the month were pretty eventful, and not much happened in the middle. So to begin with, we had Asking Alexandria, the script, Trivium, Ice Nine Kills, new album from Don Broco, big highlight for the beginning of the month, Paris, all sorts of really good stuff, and then in sort of this last week, we've had Bad Wolves, Black Veil Brides, such a highlight that it was my song cover for the month. Only just beat out Don Broco, not gonna lie. Ed Sheeran dropped his album Equals, made a parade for the 10-year anniversary of the Of Monsters and Men album, My Head is an Animal. And then finishing off, I think we were finishing off, let me just quickly double check the date for this one. Oh no, that's finishing off the month. I discovered, despite it being released in March of this year, was the sort of new mix for Youngblood's song Parents. So yeah, pretty decent month with music, and I didn't mind having a little break in the middle. It let me sort of re-listen to all of the really good songs that have come out in past months this year. I just got to listen to my playlist a little bit. I got to fully explore some of the albums that I didn't really have time to in other months when just every week was dropping bangers. So I didn't mind having that little bit of a reprieve music-wise. However, when music wasn't absolutely slaying it, streaming was knocking it out of the park. So on streaming, I'm just sort of looking between my two bits here, on Netflix, I've watched Lucifer Season 6. I really liked Brianna Hildebrand's role as Rory. I think that was such a good antagonist for the series, because ultimately it ends up that there is no actual antagonist and everything sort of gets nicely tied up. They do bring in this whole idea of like time travel being a thing through one of the angelic powers, this one being Rory's, and that sort of gives everything this like, oh, it has to happen sort of thing, where the whole season just sort of is like, how can we avoid this, knowing ultimately that the season's going to end the entire show. Is there a way that we can like beat fate sort of thing, which I thought was a very interesting thing for a final season to take on. A very interesting concept for a final season, but I would have thought it was interesting even if they'd just gone with a regular old Lucifer season, because I love that show. On Stan, and like the only reason I have watched Stan this month, One of Us is Lying. That show is, I mean, like I said, the only reason I was watching Stan this month was because One of Us is Lying came out, and I was watching each episode as it dropped on Friday afternoons. So I think for the sole reason that it got me onto Stan once a week consistently, I've got to say that it was my favourite. Because Netflix and Disney Plus, I'll go onto them anyway, but I find that with Stan and Prime, and I mainly watch them because of the specific shows that are on them. So like their originals and stuff. So One of Us is Lying being a Stan original makes that my favourite one, just sort of by default. If I'd had any Amazon Prime shows, like if they'd, I know it's coming soon, but just for instance, if the new season of The Boys, like season 3 of The Boys was out, the one that has Jensen Ackles playing Soldier Boy, I think that would have gotten me onto Amazon Prime this month to watch that. Or if there was like the season 3 of Jack Ryan with John Krasinski. I mean, I'm really hoping that that comes out. I'm hoping that there's a second season of Carnival Row. I know there's a second season of Good Omens coming. I've got to catch up on my American Gods. I have got all 3 seasons that are currently out on Blu-ray. I've got to catch up. So that's probably going to be a November show. We'll be catching up on that. But other than that, like, yeah, One of Us is Lying makes the top for the favourites. Lucifer Season 6 was also really good. The finale of What If, amazing. Only Murders in the Building, awesome. Just Beyond, definitely more for like a younger audience, I think. But I didn't mind, there were some episodes where it was like, this is just, like, what am I watching? And then there were other ones where it's like, I actually thoroughly enjoy this episode. And with it being an anthology series, I think that's always the risk you run. Like, what if the first episode just is like, oh, this is what the whole show is going to be like. This one's weird, so I'm out. I think that's the risk you have with an anthology series. Although, with now being able to just put the whole season out at once, you actually give your audience a chance to go, okay, well, maybe each episode's going to be a little bit different, which you would hope. But no, there were some episodes of Just Beyond which were really good, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. Watched the Marvel Studios Assembled for Black Widow and What If. It's essentially just their Disney Plus original show for the behind the scenes. I was kind of hoping that with Eternals coming up, we'd get a new Legends episode on like the Celestials or something. We didn't. So I would have loved to have seen like what critical information from the MCU that we've currently got available to us is like the necessary knowledge going into Eternals. But there's only one episode left for season 1, and that's the Hawkeye one, which isn't going to be until sort of halfway through November, after Eternals has already made its premiere at the box office. So yeah, right at the beginning of the month I watched Star Wars Visions. Thoroughly enjoyed each and every episode of that. It kind of upsets me that they're not considered canon stories, because there are some of them that I would love to consider canon, and just, you know, they just happened in this uneventful pocket of the galaxy where we just haven't really gone yet. But as is the case with the What If series, with this also being an anthology series, it could have just been a testing ground for certain ideas, and maybe Dave Filoni will sort of see which particular episodes had the most interest in them being further explored, and he might include those characters or those locations and that sort of, you know, sort of canonized specific episodes in further seasons of like The Mandalorian or the Book of Boba Fett, the Ahsoka series, the Kenobi series. Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I would love for some of those episodes to be canonized. There were some really cool ones. As far as movies are concerned, Muppets Haunted Mansion, right at the beginning of the month, when that came out, sort of watched that with my family as a family thing. My mum loves the Muppets, and so now they've not only got Muppets Christmas Carol for a Christmas movie, there's also Haunted Mansion for a Halloween movie. Yeah, the Muppets are slowly building themselves enough movies that you can just watch Muppet movies to celebrate every holiday on the calendar. It's amazing. I imagine the next Muppet movie sort of holiday special to come out will be an Easter story. I'm sure there's something that they can turn into an Easter story. I'm sure of it. So that was sort of, I watched Free Guy as well on Disney Plus at the beginning of the month. I watched it the first time because I wanted to see it, because it's got Ryan Reynolds in it. I watched it the second time because it has Jacksepticeye and Pokemon and Ninja in it. I think he pronounces his name Laser, and he's an Australian, but like some top video game streamers, two of which are sort of in the same sort of friends group, and that I myself watch on YouTube. So that was really cool to sort of see that. Yeah, I kind of hope that in some way, shape or form we get some other video game streamers getting cameos in like Ready Player 2, because I'm pretty sure they're making that into a movie. I just think it'd be cool to see some more streamers getting, you know, a little bit more of a shout out for being, you know, for making video games a profession in movies about video games or based on video games. I think that'd be cool. So the fact that Free Guy did that, I love that so much. I then sort of for the rest of the month tried progressing my way through the top 13 scary movies, like horror movies of the year. And some of the names on this might be like, can you really class that as a horror movie? And I think that really comes down to your definition of what a horror movie is. But as far as Hollywood's concerned, the ones that have, it might even just be that they have horror themes. So top of the chart, I'd already watched way back when it came out in cinemas because I was so keen for it, but currently sitting, King of the Hill, Quiet Place Part 2. As it rightfully should, that movie was amazing. Right underneath it is, and I'm basing this off of their Rotten Tomatoes scores, but right underneath it was Fear Street #3, which I've got to agree. Despite the fact that the Fear Street trilogy is a trilogy of films, I liked the fact that they were kind of all had to be filmed and produced at the same time, and then they were actually released as a like, here's 1, 2, and 3. So you could just binge watch Fear Street for 6 hours. But Fear Street 3, 1666, is second. Fear Street 2, the 1978 one, is in third. The only thing separating it from the first Fear Street is Candyman, which I haven't seen yet. I'm very eager to though. It's definitely on my list. And then, like I said, Fear Street 1. So currently out of the top 5, it's only Candyman I haven't seen. Next on the list is Shadow in the Cloud, which I have on Blu-ray. It's probably going to be like tomorrow's watch. I'll go out and I'll watch it on the TV, like with my dad or something. And then after that is Army of the Dead, which I watched when it came out as well on Netflix. So far, top 7, I only haven't seen 2. And then there's The Conjuring 3, which I'm interested in seeing it, but not as much as I'm interested in seeing Candyman or Shadow in the Cloud, or there's some other ones lower on the list. The only reason is I haven't actually seen the first 2 Conjurings, so for me watching number 3's sort of, it's on the list as like I want to watch this, but it's only less on like my list of importance, because I'm probably going to want to watch it after I watch 1 and 2, just so that any narrative details that relate back to those films, as sequels will want to do, I miss out on them. So that's also probably going to end up being a next month thing. Old, the new M. Night Shyamalan film, does look really good. So I'm keen to see. Excuse me. I'm keen to see that one. I'm probably going to end up watching it around at the same time. I mean, that's probably going to be, I'm completely honest, it's probably going to be a late November. Because I'll probably just get into a little bit of a M. Night Shyamalan mood, and I'll also watch Unbreakable and Split and Glass sort of around the same time, just to sort of transition myself into that whole like superhero aesthetic that I already have planned for December. What with just the plethora of Spider-Man content in December that I can consume. So that's gonna be, it's gonna be December. Spoiler alert. Next on our list is Escape Room 2, which I haven't yet seen. Again, I also haven't seen Escape Room 1, so it's sort of a watch 1 and watch 2 deal there. I have seen There's Someone Inside Your House. Only an hour and a half. I was kind of disappointed. It just started getting good and then it was over, and I was like, like, I would have loved to see if they had given it just another half hour, just to sort of like, you know, keep building up that tension, but also to sort of give more of a payout to when it starts really getting good and really getting like, oh, okay, cool. Like there was this whole like, the friends sort of assumed that it was one person, and I never felt like there was really sort of a break into 3 where it's like the main character Makani felt like they had to choose between their friends who believe that this person's a murderer and knowing that this person isn't the murderer, and feeling like, well, I'm sort of on my own here because they're not wanting to talk to me because they think that I'm siding with the friends. My friends aren't talking to me because they think I'm siding with this other character. And I don't know. I feel like that, especially in a horror film, you do not want to be alone. Especially for how that final act went down. I think if they'd gone into that alone, and I think once they sort of made the realization that the friends and, you know, the other members of like the friends group at large all sort of come together and set aside the differences, I think that would have made that finale a little bit better. So I do understand why it got the score it did, which is a 48. I think it would have taken just a little tweak, and it would have been so much better. Spiral is then on the list, currently sitting at 37. And I have no idea currently where Halloween Kills sits. So potentially Spiral from the Book of Saw is the lowest. But I'll probably end up watching, because I'll be honest, I haven't seen any of the Saw movies. So I'll probably watch Jigsaw, being that it was sort of the most modern remake. And then I'll watch Spiral, just so I've got a little bit of like a backstory for what's going on. Because I certainly don't have time with all of the other content that's coming out to sit down and watch every single Saw movie. That's going to take a long time. So it'll probably end up just being Jigsaw, and then I'll watch Spiral. And then Halloween Kills came out this month as well, right at the end. So it's currently in theaters if you want to go watch it. Gaming, PS4 was Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I sort of jumped back to sort of the earliest save file I had, so that I was able to go back and redo the trophies. That's what they're called. The trophies in Legacy of the First Blade Part 2 and Part 3. I've got 2 or 3 trophies in each of those that I need to collect to get 100% for those. Just doing my completionist brain in, not being able to have those completed. On the Switch, Metroid Dread, sorry. Really enjoying it up to like the 3rd or 4th part, but there's one enemy that I just can't seem to, no matter how hard I try different tactics or different strategies, I just always seem to get killed by it. So I'm taking a little bit of a break from it. I'll probably get back into it sort of at some point in the next week with fresh eyes, fresh perspectives. Might even do a little bit of a walkthrough to see exactly how to get through his territory. Because in order to get the power up that I need to destroy him, I've got to get so far down and around. It's ridiculous. Also on the Switch, I was playing Rocket League, the Arkham Hallows, or the Gotham Hallows, or whatever it was called, Batman timed event, for all of the Batmobiles. So I'm satisfied. It is still going for the next 2 days, so I might try and get as many of the other things, claim as many of the other prizes as I possibly can. And then board games, just earlier tonight we had our official round 1 of Dungeons and Dragons, and pleased to say that the party actually did pretty well. I was prepared for it to take a little bit longer to get into, knowing that it's literally the first time some of these people have actually even looked at Dungeons and Dragons. But no, they picked it up pretty quickly. We were able to it took us a little while, but we were able to find our groove. And so now that we sort of know what's going on, particularly when it comes to combat, we're able to once we're in combat, we know immediately that we roll our initiative, and then I usually have a bit of paper there. I write down the order of who goes when, and I just sort of bounce around the table, with everyone taking their turns. So yeah, I didn't really watch any comedy specials. Maybe next month I'll watch the Dave Chappelle ones. seem very, especially the newer one, seems to be getting a lot, like when it came out, had a lot of talk online. I know, I don't know what was said, but I specifically avoided spoilers on it and like what was being said about it, so when I watch it I can form my own opinion about what was said. So expect some commentary on that at some point, maybe. Travelled to Port Macquarie twice. First time was just sort of to suss out everything and sort of get a fair idea of what was going on in the Zing. There was something in particular, there was something I got that first time from Zing, and then I sort of saw everything else that I wanted to get, and then the second time we went was buying all of that, and that was my big Zing haul that I did, like just within this last week sort of thing. As far as exercise is concerned, I am pleased, like as punch, to announce that including today, I know in my, I think it was my Halloween video, I stated that I was at like 111 point, I think it was like 8.5 or something like that. The end of today, that has jumped up by 5.65 kilometers to being 117 and a half in total, which I like another 2.5 Ks and 120. So I'm really happy with that. I'm happy to just sort of leave it there. We made 117 and a half and the goal was 100. So we more than did our share for 1 foot forward. And that's like, I've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 12 days not counted in that out of 31. So, you know, dividing it all sort of evenly between the other remaining, what, like 20, you're coming to about 6 Ks each. So then 6 by 12, it's like another 70-ish kilometers. So if I'd been doing sort of that same average on those days as well, we're easily up around about the sort of 180, 190 mark easily. So I'm really happy with that. I'm pretty proud of myself for that accomplishment. And then obviously, the last but not least was my cosplay. I did originally have plans to go to like a cemetery or somewhere so creepy looking, maybe even like, there's a little, as you would have seen at the beginning of the Halloween video, there's a little bit in the bush sort of down near, like down in Wingham, where there's a whole heap of flying foxes just hanging out in the trees. Maybe it'd be really cool if I could get some photos there in my Ray cosplay, like my Pokemon one, and just sort of, yeah, maybe I might create another like an actual trainer with like a Halloween theme. That'd actually be really interesting. I might try and create some Pokemon trainers where their themes are specific holidays. I think that could be kind of cool. But yeah, so I did originally have the idea of doing a little photo shoot with Ray in like a cemetery or with the flying foxes or whatever. And now I also want to do the same thing with my Pizza Planet one. except obviously that one would be in like a pizza shop. You know, maybe have some little Pixar aliens and stuff hanging about, or like a Buzz Lightyear. I think that'd be really cool. So we'll see. I do also have some other ideas of like getting like a name badge for it, so it looks a little bit more like, oh yeah, no, I work at Pizza Planet. I had this idea particularly to do with trick-or-treating that I might work on, where like the delivery bag, like I might make my own like delivery bag but reinforce the sides so that it stays up. Whether that's I just make like a little 3D printed plastic box and make a fabric casing around it, or I don't know. And then I was gonna make it sort of be like I open it up and I have like a drawer I can pull out and that's got the candy in it. But the front of the drawer looks like a stack of pizzas sort of thing. Something like that. I think that'd be really fun to do. So I've got a little passion project there to actually make more for the Pizza Planet cosplay, and I'm really keen to get into it, because it'll actually be my first official like build. Because at the moment there's not a heap of cosplays that I want to do that have any armor in them too much. But I'm also very new at it as well, so I want to try and ease myself into those very much more expensive ones. And especially if I'm going to be going to afters next year, I may end up coming across someone who wants to be a costume designer, and therefore be able to learn something off of them as to how to make cosplays. So leaving myself open to that possibility first, because the last thing I want to do is go in trying to make some really cool armor, get halfway through making it, realize that I've messed up at step 1 and the whole thing's just not going to work because of it. I want to sort of learn how to do it properly firsthand. Yeah, that's me though. I think my favorite event, like thing that happened this month, was I got my applications in for scholarships to afters. So it's literally just wait until I find out if I've got an offer, because it should be around at the same time I find out whether or not I am the recipient of a scholarship or not. So fingers, toes, eyes, intestines, they're all crossed. You know, arms, like everything that can be is. But yeah, we will just have to see how November and potentially December goes. Just know that as soon as I find out whether or not I'm going to afters or not, you guys will be among the first to know. Basically, my actual friends and family will sort of come first. And I'm probably gonna be the first thing I post on every social media platform. But you guys, the ones that watch my YouTubes, will be the first of the social medias to know, guaranteed. But yeah, that's my favorites for this month. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Links to all of my favorite things, whether it's music, film, TV show, whatever, down below. With regards to like shows and films, it'll just be a link to their streaming services where you'll be able to find them. So they'll be down below. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. It should be there-ish or like here somewhere. And also hit the notification bell, which should be right beside it if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. If you enjoyed this one, please give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.